really just kind of open you guys up to who I am, why I am doing this. And there was nothing more magical as a kid than picking out the Legend of Blue Eyes pack. There's even a Halloween where I dressed up as Yugi. Hey, what's up guys? This is James. This is my channel, Rogue Duelist Trade. I appreciate you guys coming and checking me out, whether you're returning or if this is your first time. So this is actually going to be a very different episode today. I want to do something that's a little more real, a little more sincere, and a little more genuine. Really just kind of open you guys up to who I am, why I am doing this. You know, it's right now is a very different time. You know, if you guys are sitting and watching this just might be one of your escapes, which is going in YouTube and watching different channels of just kind of keeping your mind off everything that's going on right now. And I don't want to take that lightly. I really appreciate that you are coming to my channel. You know, you guys are interested in the investment discussions, the one box opening that I've done so far, but really going in deep as to making Yu-Gi-Oh a business or spending your money wisely and whether or not you should or shouldn't be buying stuff. And I want to keep doing that. And I also want to start really opening up and connecting with you guys more in who I am as a person and why I'm doing what I'm doing. Going back to everything that's going on in the world today, I mean, it's crazy. It's literally in the world. You know, it seems like every nation across the world is dealing with what we're calling in the Yu-Gi-Oh community as crush card virus. It's been rough. I've been at my house, barely left my house for like the past 3 weeks. So if you guys didn't know, I am married and have 2 beautiful kids. My wife and I have been married for 5 years, and my kids, my daughter is 3 and my son is 1.5 years. So it's definitely a difficult time being a parent right now and going through all of this quarantine stuff, because your kids don't really understand. My daughter really has no idea, and honestly she's kind of loved the idea of being home. We've been doing all sorts of stuff, watching shows, painting, making puzzles, you know, whatever it is to get the time passed, and going on walks, doing picnics and that type of stuff. And I love that. And if you guys really want to know who I am, I mean, I love my family, and that is extremely important to me. My children and the type of father that I am, the type of husband that I am, those things are extremely important to me. And maybe I should give you guys a little bit of an understanding of, you know, how I kind of got into doing this. And I think it all kind of starts with just kind of the career path that I chose. I went to college in Central Florida and studied for business marketing. And honestly, I originally wanted to go into film production. When I was in high school, I absolutely loved TV production. I made videos with my friends. I loved editing. I loved creating something, having an idea and starting from start to finish, which honestly is probably why I've ended up making this channel. When I started getting closer to my senior year and getting ready to graduate, I realized I wasn't really too into marketing. I honestly did it because I thought it was the closest thing to film and media was marketing. And I really got into supply chain, and that was something that really fascinated me. And I got into a field that's called procurement, and I was in sourcing and procurement actually for a living for the past 5 years at 3 or 4 different companies now. I've jumped ship way too many times, and I'm ready to settle. But I've negotiated IT contracts. So usually it's like large, in some cases multi-million-dollar contracts that I help negotiate, which is crazy. I'm 26 years old, and I honestly just kind of fell into this, and a lot of this was a lot of praying and a lot of just direction of just kind of things falling into place and having to trust a lot when I was making steps, especially getting married and having kids. Somehow found myself getting a job opportunity in Colorado, where my wife and I decided to take our daughter. My wife was pregnant at the time, and we just completely left Florida and came to Colorado. And it was really hard because we left all of our family, and having kids and not having your parents nearby to have, you know, somebody to be able to watch your kids or just be able to see them grow up with their grandparents and their cousins. It was a really hard decision, but we felt like we had to do it. So, and we did. And honestly, we feel we are exactly where we need to be. Now, I want to get to Yu-Gi-Oh! So I started watching Yu-Gi-Oh! When I was a kid. I have 3 older brothers. 2 of them, my 2 oldest brothers and myself, really loved the Yu-Gi-Oh! Anime back in early 2000s. So, oh my gosh, 20 years ago. We got into Yu-Gi-Oh! And we went to a local Books A Million. That was like our place to buy Yu-Gi-Oh! Product. I remember going to Books A Million, and at the register they would have a little plastic or glass clear container, and it would be filled with different Yu-Gi-Oh! Product. And there was nothing more magical as a kid than picking out the Legend of Blue Eyes pack or Pharaoh Servant and Metal Raiders, and grabbing those packs and opening them up with your brothers and pulling cool cards and making your own decks that now looking back weren't good at all, and just playing each other and having a good time. And then sometimes actually making a deck that's really good and beating your older brother and doing it as as respectfully as possible. But of course it doesn't go well with your brothers are extremely competitive, and I'm a very competitive person too. So that's how it started. Absolutely love the anime, and gosh, there was even a Halloween where I dressed up as Yugi, and it probably looked hilarious, but I know it looked hilarious. I even had Yu-Gi-Oh! Socks that I wore, which my brothers still laugh about, laugh at me, but in a loving way. Yeah, so I did that for several years as a kid, and then maybe when I turned like 13 or something like that, just stopped playing the game. Going into middle school, going into high school, always just kind of having Yu-Gi-Oh! In my closet, literally and metaphorically. So it wasn't until I got into college, I just decided to start watching the next Yu-Gi-Oh! GX. You know, when you only watch the original Yu-Gi-Oh!, you're kind of like the original Yu-Gi-Oh! Series purist, and you don't want to watch anything else because anything else is stupid. And I decided, I'm like, well, Yu-Gi-Oh! GX is on Hulu. I don't really have a lot to watch. I'm in college, and I just started watching it, and I actually really kind of fell in love with it and really enjoyed it, and I watched it from beginning to end. And I remember finding myself going to a Walmart, and I saw, it must have been back in 2014, 2015, and I saw the Masked Hero structure deck, and that just caught my eye because I've been watching Yu-Gi-Oh! GX. So I went ahead and picked it up, and from there built what I thought was a competitive deck, at least between me and my brothers. Probably not meta at the time because I wasn't that competitive, it was just more casual. And I would play my brothers with their older decks and just completely obliterate them, but it was only because their decks were old and their decks weren't up to par. And I mean, just being able to pull out a Dark Law or pull out any of the other Masked Heroes just by using Mass Change and just build crazy boards, that was something that was completely different than the original game. So then my brothers started to get a little more competitive, and then we would start playing each other, and then they would start winning, and then I would get frustrated and start trying to build a strategy. So it was probably about 2 years or 1 year after being married, maybe a couple years, that I ended up stopped playing the game again. Never really got meta competitive, and it wasn't until about Dual Power, when that came out last year, because Dual Overload just came out. Dual Power came out. I was actually watching Team Samurai's channel. The guy's a goofball, but I love him. He was talking about Dual Power and the pools that he was getting, and it really got me excited. I don't even know how I came across it. I think my brothers actually were starting to play. I think I went and visited them, and we played a few rounds with my old deck, and it wasn't doing my Masked Hero deck wasn't doing too well because it wasn't updated. So anyways, it was Dual Power was the product that I bought. And when I bought that product, I actually pulled an Infinite Impermanence. I had no idea it was a good card. I remember sending a picture to my brothers, and my brother was like, oh my gosh, you pulled Infinite Impermanence. And I'm like, oh yeah, great. And I read it, and I didn't even think it seemed that good, but now obviously I just didn't know the game as well as I do now. From then on forward, I started looking forward for different product, and it was actually a great year to get back into Yu-Gi-Oh! And having a hero deck, because then Vision Hero support came out in Battles of Legend Heroes Revenge, and I actually bought 2 boxes of that, and I was so excited about Ferris and Vion. And I really wanted the Black Luster Soldier card because it was a warrior. Anyways, so I bought 2 of those boxes actually kind of as my birthday gift. I told my wife. And yeah, I think from then on out, I was kind of sucked in. I started watching a lot of Yu-Gi-Oh channels, got into Team Samurai, got into SEMO, got into MCOL40, got into House of Champs, got into Cali Effect, all of just the really great YouTubers, Yugi-tubers that are out there. Yeah, and then I found myself loving the game, and I bought the Nintendo Switch game that came out, and I'm actually playing it again because they've updated it, and it's been a wild ride. And I decided, I was using Dueling Book and just trying to get my deck as best as possible. And honestly, it was just rivalry between me and my brothers, just me trying to one-up them. I remember my brother had an Orcus deck, and I was just trying to figure out how can I beat it. Eventually, I got my deck that was good enough to where I was able to play them on Dueling Book, because they live in a different state. They live in Utah, and I was able to beat them with my hero deck, with my updated hero deck. So, I put my own spin on it, and, just decided, you know what, I'm gonna go find a locals, and I'm gonna go try it out, and I'm gonna take my deck and go play it, which I did. So I went over to my locals in Colorado and I actually got first place my first time going, and that was the biggest encouragement, because I was really downplaying myself, thinking like, I'm just a casual player, but I was keeping up with the meta with all the Yugi-tuber channels, which I really valued, and it really did help me a lot. And I was able to build a competitive deck and beat out some really good meta-relevant decks that were at my locals, and it was about 20-25 people, and that was amazing. So anyways, so then on forward, I have this business mindset from the type of job that I do. I work a corporate job, as I said. I really wanted to find like other streams of revenue. It's just something I've been thinking about as I'm going forward in my hobby in Yu-Gi-Oh! It was when Magical Hero came out that I saw the value that Yu-Gi-Oh! Cards can really hold depending on the set, and it was such a really good set with a lot of high dollar cards in there. And if you guys actually look at my first 2 videos, I go and buy out Magical Hero cards from Targets and open them, and the first one went really well, the second one did not go well, and I lost money. But anyways, that's actually what got me to want to get into Yu-Gi-Oh! Investing, because I wanted to buy that product in bulk. I wanted to see if I could go buy a case, but of course it was way too late. And I started learning that you need to pre-order product like that like months ahead of time, which I didn't do, which is why I resorted going to Target and buying out product. So when I decided that I wanted to get into a side business in buying and selling Yu-Gi-Oh! Because it looked like there's actually value there, because I'm thinking, I wanted to do something that's entrepreneurial. I want to do something that provides side revenue outside of my current job to help support my family. And I absolutely love Yu-Gi-Oh! And I invest a lot of time in it. I'm always watching videos. I'm always on Dueling Book trying to update my decks. And I'm always investing in cards myself. And instead of just going and spending monies, I'm just find myself spending money. Why don't I make this game make money for me? So that's where I decided to get into investing. I kind of thought about maybe I can find a Yugi-tuber that talks about investing in Yu-Gi-Oh! Product. So I started diving into YouTube, and I couldn't find anyone that specifically only talked about product sets coming out and whether or not you should invest in the product. And there's great channels out there that touch on it every so often, such as House of Champs, MCOL40, but it's not their niche, and it wasn't the only things they talked about, although I glean a lot from those channels. So I just figured if this looks like something that's missing in the market today in YouTube, so why don't I go and try to fill that gap and see what happens, which is exactly what I did. So I started my YouTube channel that you guys are watching right now. And it's been going great. And honestly, I haven't really gotten into my investments yet. Really, Dual Overload was the first one, but it was really small. considering it was just one case, like $270 worth of product. My first really big investment, for me at least, is Eternity Code. So and in my Eternity Code video, I talked about how I bought a case and a half and over $1,000 worth of product, and I'm hoping to see that value double, which is my goal. So guys, that's who I am. I wanted to open up a little bit with you because we just hit a milestone. We're at over 100 subscribers. So thank you. Thanks to everyone. I sincerely appreciate it. I watch it and I try not to, and I don't want it to be about just, all the subscribers and all that type of stuff. But every time I see a new subscriber, you guys don't know what that means to me. I sincerely appreciate it. And that's why if you guys have left comments on my video, I do my best to give thoughtful responses back to you guys. And if you ask questions, and if I have an answer, if I don't have an answer, I'm gonna tell you, and I'll put time into that. And I'll do that as long as I can. Obviously if the channel grows a lot, and if there's ever hundreds of comments, it might not be possible for me to respond to all, but right now I'm going to. So I want you guys to know how much I value you, how much I appreciate you. Every time I see it, keeps me going to continue making content when I see that you guys respond to it and enjoy it. With that said, if you guys haven't already, if you want to see Yu-Gi-Oh investing discussions and talking about Yu-Gi-Oh vending and what it's like and getting into it, which honestly I'm getting into it, so this is new for me. If you guys like content like that, subscribe to this channel and comment down below and let me know what you guys think. I would love to connect with you and hear your questions, hear your thoughts, and whatever you guys want to talk about, or just what you think about this discussion. Do you relate to it? That's really all I want to talk about today. And also, so just to end the video, we got lots of stuff that's coming this year, and I would really like to know what you guys think. What do you want my next video to be about, at least one of my next discussion videos? So we got Eternity Code, which I made a video on, but we're probably going to be getting more information on it soon. That's coming out in May. And we have Secret Slayers. The full set was revealed. I did make a video on that already, but with the full set revealed, obviously that might change some things of the analysis that I did. We got Rise of the Duelist. We have a lot of OCG reveals that are coming. A lot of cards are looking pretty crazy. That product comes out in August, but in the OCG, it comes out in April 18th. So we'll be getting a full set reveal, at least from the OCG, and a lot of that's going to translate to the TCG. So let me know if you guys want to see that. We have a Sacred Beast structure deck that's been fully revealed in the OCG. We got Battles of Legend Armageddon, a lot of cool stuff revealed there. I already talked Toon Chaos, but as more information come out, I might make an updated video. And then we have Legendary Duelist Season 1, which is basically like a rehash of some of the previous Legendary Duelist sets, the first ones, and with some new cards that are coming, new rarities and stuff as well. So let me know down below, what do you guys want the next video to be about? What do you care about right now? What would you like to see sooner rather than later? So that way I can get that content up. I always do a lot of research beforehand and put together something quality for you guys when I present it to you. So I want it to be very informative and concise. And real quick, I mentioned this in my last video, I actually have somebody that I've been in conversation with, is a Yu-Gi-Oh vendor, owns an OTS store actually in Germany. Really hoping to get him on the channel maybe next week, talk about just his experience and just do an interview with him. So it'll honestly be extremely helpful for me, but I think it'll be extremely helpful for you, and even just informative or just interesting, just to understand like what these guys go through, especially if you own an OTS store, and how did they get into it and why did they get into it. I think that's going to be really cool. So I think that's going to be a new segment that we're going to start. I'll see how you guys respond to it once we're finally able to get a vendor interview up. And again, I hope that's going to be next week. So let me know what you guys think about that in the comments down below. But all right, guys, I hope you have a good one. Thanks for stopping by, and I'll see you next time.